It's time for the main event. It's the Shoe Shine.
¿Qué onda, vatos locos? Damas y caballeros, it's your boy Dave in the 702 coming back at you with that Monday boxing recap known as the Shoe Shine. All right, guys, as you know, my co-host Drew Evo, all the way from the city of brotherly love, should be joining me at the top of the hour around 11 p.m. Eastern time, he said. Had to do a few things. I thought I'd get on the mic a little bit short to precede him so we could get down to some boxing news and just check in with the chat. And we're going to dive deep into tonight. What happened at the Top Rank card in San Diego? You know I got a man on the street. I had my boy Fonzie at the fight. He sent me a picture with him and that new female talent that Top Rank just signed. She looks like, I think they think she might be the next Sinisa Estrada. It was fun watching her fight. And Perla, right? I think her name is Perla. Shout out to Fonzie who went and checked out that fight. We're going to get to that incredibly controversial topic. What happened to El Vaquero, El Navarrete? Was he a victim? He was declared the winner? Or is Charly Suarez the victim in this? All right, right away, guys. It's disheartened to hear that in my life. You guys know I live in Las Vegas, and aside from the boxing talk, I also I like to be involved in the Las Vegas YouTube community. And I was disheartened to hear that there was another incident of violence amongst Las Vegas YouTubers. Your boy Dave from the 702 is always, this channel, Shoe Shine Boxing, is always going to stand up against violence against the elderly, abuse of the elderly, violence against women, violence of those who cannot defend themselves like children. We're always going to stand up to that. So I was incredibly disheartened attacking people, you know, LGBTQT community, attacking them. That's some bullshit, guys. That's all I'm going to say. But why am I so bothered about that, guys? Because I get bothered about injustices in everything, and even more so in the sport of boxing. Because the truth of it is that I think that this weekend, somebody got the shaft. Now, we're going to dive deeper into that when my co-host Drew Evo shows up at the top of the hour, guys. But if you think about it now, in the past 3 months, we have two tremendous fighters. One of them already a champion in Lamont Roach. We got two fighters who should be brand new champions. And we have two A-side fighters, as they like to say in the sport of boxing. The A-side, you know, and one of them I love tremendously. I'm a huge fan of El Vaquero, El Navarrete, Emmanuel Navarrete, a 3-division world champion from Mexico that almost dared to be great and almost became a 4-division world champion, only being, that having that stop by Baranchek, who briefly held that title, guys. I'm a huge fan of him. But this weekend, it seems like the sport of boxing got it all wrong all over again. Saludos to Adrian Reina Soto. Appreciate. They say hello. Glad to have you. And glad to have all the new subscribers. I am so appreciative. Something happened on my channel, guys, that I've been waiting for a breakthrough like this. And unfortunately, it's not from long form content. It's not from my podcast, which is what I'm really trying to push, is the Shoe Shine podcast now 2 times a week. And I hope some of the new subscribers are going to catch it on replay. But if you didn't notice, because of shorts, because of the Inoue fight, because of Cinco de Mayo, my channel had nearly 160,000 views last week. And unfortunately, they don't count shorts as watch hours. So I can't exactly, unfortunately, I'm not going to get any monetization out of that. But I am grateful to nearly 250. We blew through my 2,000 and I didn't even get a chance yet to do a watch party. not a watch party, a celebration party with all the fans and supporters. I shouldn't say fans, but supporters of this channel. I will be having that at some point. I did not expect to hit it. It's been a slow going, and I thank all of those new subscribers that may have come onto this because of those Inoue shorts from Cinco de Mayo. Shout out to Wile Coyote. He says, yeah, there's a lot of punks out there. Yep, Inoue saved the Cinco de Mayo weekend for sure, guys. Absolutely. May have even saved my channel from dire existence, you know. Lots to talk about. But this weekend, back to back, tremendous shows. What seemed to be like we were going to have a tremendous show by Top Rank ended in tremendous controversy because they stopped the fight, guys. They stopped this fight, and I've got the freeze frame on here. California State Athletic Commission, like New York State Athletic Commission, like the New York State Athletic Commission that failed to show the replay. They both have replays, instantaneous replays, just like the NFL. It works tremendously in the NFL. It works fine in the NFL. Why doesn't it work well in boxing? Why did the New York State Athletic Commission say they couldn't find the video? Oh, we couldn't get the tape in time, and we just had to go with the referee's discretion. Well, Lamont Roach dropped Gervonta Tank Davis from a legitimate punch. Gervonta Tank Davis had to take a knee, wipe his face off. Something was obstructing his eye. Something was bothering his eye, which seemed to be as a result of a punch. Now, that knockdown wasn't scored correctly. Had it been scored correctly, Lamont Roach right now would be a 2-division world champion, currently the 130-pound champion, and a 135-pound champion. Because if you looked at the scorecard, had they counted that knockdown correctly, and having the benefit of instantaneous replay, Lamont Roach would be the champion, and Gervonta Tank Davis would have the first blemish on an otherwise perfect record. He should be the champion in 2 divisions. Now, what happened Saturday? Tremendous fight. A Fight of the Year contender was brewing in San Diego in the main event. Fantastic. Fantastic fight. We get into the 6th round, and you get this punch here. Followed by this punch, you had a really nasty clash of heads. Styles make these things happen. Well, this original punch down here below caused a pretty nasty cut. You get cuts in boxing all the time, and I'm going to show you some other cuts where fights weren't stopped. Well, after the headbutt, it opened up this gash. It opened it up more severely, but it's clear instantaneous replay after the fight. After they saw the video, you're supposed to see the fucking videos as the fight's going along, right? And you should be able to stop the fight while they review it, so you get the call right. You should be able to stop the round and not proceed until something like this is called correctly. That would alleviate all this nonsense. You know, and all this injustice. Saludos to Bruce Gas, Boxing Jazz, and more. Appreciate you, brother, as well. Make sure you guys go check out Bruce Gas, Boxing Jazz, and more. He's got a great channel. Wile Coyote says, it was rigged, bro. These kind of things always seem to favor the in-house fighter. Of course, a tremendous champion in Navarrete. Now, Navarrete, to his credit, in the 7th round, they were able to momentarily stop the blood in this tremendous fight that was brewing. And to be actual, we'll look at the scorecard up until then because they were able to stop the blood. His corner was doing a fantastic job, you know, and it was a hell of a fight that was developing. In my opinion, let's take a look at quickly while I await Drew's arrival here. Hopefully he's not going to, hopefully he's going to come in here. But let me just show you some very famous cuts in recent memory where the fight wasn't stopped. Now, again, Navarrete did not ask for the fight to be stopped. He didn't pussy out of the fight. The doctors came in after allowing him 1 round, you know, I think the 7th round, to continue. Blood was flowing into his eye, but usually about halfway through the round is when the blood started to fall into the eye. But where are all my good pictures I had for you guys ready to go here? I had some really good pictures here. Let me look through them really quickly. All right, Badu Jack just fought on Cinco de Mayo weekend, and I apologize. Those of you that are watching, Drew's calling in, which is awesome. Let me get our co-host Drew in here. I'll put this picture up here really quickly and put Drew on. What's good, Drew?
Oh, man.
Glad to have you. Glad to have you. The beard is coming in. I'm going to take this picture away. Drew, this is the biggest gash that I can remember where a fight was not called. Badu Jack, the current cruiserweight champ, won a cruiserweight champion. Damn, I hate when the format to the show there's going to be a gap in here. Maybe I'll put the pictures in here, guys. I'm sorry. The orientation is funny like that, but shout out to everybody joining us. Saludos to SB Drew. I got right into it, Drew. I felt like there was a serious injustice this weekend done. Again, Navarrete didn't ask for the fight to be called. He didn't ask for it to be ended because they did not review the instant replay footage where the punch caused that cut. Had they properly called it from the replay, Navarrete would have come up a loser for not being able to continue a technical knockout. He would have lost his championship title. Now, they said it was an accidental clash of heads. They got it wrong. And because of that, they went to the scorecards. Here's the scorecards. Drew, what is your initial thought?
TKO.
A TKO for Drew.
And, it should be switched to a TKO win. Even though it's going to probably be switched to a no contest and it's going to order immediate rematch and everything, but things like this, something's got to change. You got to, where's the instant replay and all the angles at in this? That's what it should have been done. Now you have to review the replay. The commission and the sanctioning body has to review it, and that was a punch. You got to reward that guy that title.
Yeah, and Bruce Gas Boxing Chassimore makes a fantastic point. He says that Hagler, the referee told Hagler, hey, they're going to stop it, and he knocked out Hearns first in a classic historical fight. Drew, it seemed like the momentum, like Navarrete knew, hey, they could potentially stop this fight. I have to stop the Filipino warrior. And this fight was just getting going, man. It was fucking ramping up. It was exciting. We had a fight of the year contender. I think Navarrete knew that they could potentially be calling it. But after second inspection in between rounds, the California State Athletic Commission doctor said, stop the fight. Again, here are the current scorecards, 77-76. This was incredibly close. It was, there were moments. Both of these guys had strong moments. This is the kind of fan-friendly fight that people want to see. They want to see it come to conclusion. Let's talk about something. Hey, shout out. Good to see Sin City Syndicate in here. Good to see you, brother. Drew, this is official for July. The rematch, Sebastian Fundora, avoided by all. It just seems that no other way to say it, sugarcoat it, but him and his management team, avoided the fight with young Xander Zayas of Top Rank.
I'm going to say it the right way, Dave. He ducked Xander Zayas, and I don't want nobody that's going to try to be a dick rider, trying to see how, I'd rather see the Tim Sue rematch and everything. And try to be a dick rider and everything. No, he ducked fucking Xander Zayas. And we're going to point blank. I don't give a fuck. We all know we got dick riders around that support both fighters and everything, that want to fucking say something. But at the end of the day, you dug Xander Zayas for a guy that's arguably probably washed up, got knocked out, got a win over somebody that was really exposed to be on a club fighter level like Jody Spencer and everything. Got his win back. So let's put it out there. He dug Xander Zayas for a washed up Tim Sue.
Well, I'm not so sure if Tim Tszú's completely washed up. We're going to get a better indication. But the only reason I'm bringing him up is twofold. Because one, they've been added to what's shaping up to probably be a very exciting, if not sold out fight, July 19th in Las Vegas at the T-Mobile Arena. But in their original fight, March of 2024, all right, that was the most bloodiest fight the entire year of 2024. Where's the freaking picture? You guys can remember. Those of you that follow the sport know that Tim Tszú's face had blood dripping through the entire rest of the fight. It was a bloodbath. And not once in Nevada did they question stopping that fight because it was a title fight and they wanted to see it play out. And they felt that the corner of Tim Tszú could comfortably handle the bleeding, which they weren't able to, but they let the fight come to a conclusion. And because of that, Sebastian Fundora outpointed and got the right call, in my opinion, against Tim Tszú. They did not allow Navarrete to either knock out and stop the Filipino or to see if the Filipino was going to beat the champion, which with the blood in Navarrete's face, it's fair to say he had a very strong chance. Bruce Gasbox says, hey, he was waiting, hoping to catch Navarrete fading at the end of this fight. Drew, Navarrete almost lost his championship on Friday on the scales. Your thoughts on Navarrete? I mean, twice he's been in this predicament before, almost missing weight, almost lost his title on the scale. The stare down, even my wife said she thought that he was going to collapse in the stare down. It was wild, right?
I don't think he's committed to do anything to make weight anymore. I don't think he's committed to the sport like he is. Like the way his diet is, trying to make weight. I don't think he's committed anymore. And I said this for the past couple of fights that he's not as committed as he was. So it's finally taking a toll on him now. And now the weight is beginning to be hard for him to make. And what's he gonna do? Try and move up to 135 again? He didn't really have a good showing at 135.
Yeah, I agree with you on. The Baranchek fight was quite the disappointment for him. I think he realized this. I don't hit hard enough for this division. I'm carrying a lot of excess water, fluid. I'm soft in the midsection. It just didn't go well for him at 135. But he was talking about before this fight, Drew, he was saying, this maybe if this is my last fight at 130, my last time defending the title, so be it if I got to move up to 135. I don't like him against Keyshawn Davis. Keyshawn Davis is a huge weight bully. He's very strong and quick at that. I don't like him against Abdullah Mason, a young prospect contender. I don't like him really against anybody at 135. What I did want to see, I was talking about last week, was I'd like to see Rafael Espinosa, the featherweight champion, move up to 130, and they can have an epic Mexican showdown. Speak of the devil. Drew, Pitbull Cruz has been added July 19th to the Manny Pacquiao fight. This was a fight of the year contender. The return of Pitbull Cruz, rematch with Angel Fierro, combined over 1,000 punches. This is a very solid addition to that Manny Pacquiao Mario Barrios fight. Do you think they're adding all these really good fights? They're making Tim Tszú the co-main with Fundora the co-main, but is it because they fully expect the Manny Pacquiao Barrios fight to be trash?
I think the whole card's going to be trash.
Hey, how do you guys feel about this July 19th, the way it's shaping up for PBC? It looks,
drink real quick.
Yeah, Drew, to me, it looks like it's going to be good on paper, minus the main event. The main event may be a farewell tour for Manny Pacquiao, who, many ways, I thought that Manny Pacquiao was done, and he already had his farewell tour when he fought Ugas over 4 years ago for the WBC, for a title. I don't know which title it was that Ugas had, but, he came up short. We thought that was it, that was retirement for Manny Pacquiao. Last week, if you heard my show, guys, I declared it, hey, the Filipino versus Mexico rivalry is officially back. And I said that if Suarez, I literally said this on my show, the last one out, I said, wrap your mind around the fact that what if Suarez can pull off an upset against the great Navarrete? What is that going to do for the July fight, where Manny Pacquiao currently is a heavy underdog to a young, in shape, peak Mario Barrios? If Suarez, 36 years old, can defeat Navarrete. And actually, he technically did this past Saturday. He technically did. What does that do for the Manny Pacquiao fight? All of a sudden, Mexico, Chicano, Mexican-American fight fans, they're going to want to see. Mexican fans want to get their get back. They're going to want to see a stoppage of Manny Pacquiao. Now we're in limbo. Appreciate everybody that's joining us. Don't forget to hit that like. It greatly helps the channel to get the notifications out to other people. So I appreciate it if you hit that like. It's free. Why not do it? Well, I got a new co-host. How about that? What's up, Dollar? Drew's dog Dollar in the house, guys. Dollar making an appearance. All right, as Drew gets back here, we're talking about that July 19th fight, but more importantly, back to the action this Saturday, Top Rank. My friend Fonzie was in the building. We had a co-main event that I want to talk about shortly too, and that was Raymond Murataya of Robert Garcia Boxing Academy making his first attempt at a world title, an interim title that is being held up by Lomachenko.
Really, buddy?
In this fight, Murataya actually, he looked great. He outclassed his opponent. But now that Drew's back at his chair, appreciate that, SB. Hit that like button. All right, this is what I know, Drew. It looks like June. Here, I got this from Boxing News, Boxing Scene, not Boxing News, BoxingScene.com. Breaking news, Charly Suarez's appeal against Emmanuel Navarrete, controversy to be heard on June the 2nd. The WBO, I follow him on social media, the WBO president said we cannot do anything until the June 2nd hearing, the appeal. It was ruled a win in favor of Emmanuel Navarrete. He was up on the scorecard by two of the judges by just 1 point. Drew, two choices. We saw what happened quickly with the Lamont Roach situation. What's going to happen? We have two choices: no contest or overturned for the Filipino boxer to a win, making him the world champion at 130 pounds. What's going to happen? It's
probably going to be a no contest, but everybody knows this should be a TKO win. It should be, it clearly as day is a punch that landed. And if they don't rule it a TKO win, it's corrupt. You know what, man? This is why boxing loses views, because of bullshit like this.
Hey, this was a televised fight too. It was televised on ESPN.
Yeah, so it's bullshit at the end of the day.
Well, I got a picture here, guys. You see the blood. We've seen far worse. I don't know where that Tim Tszyu picture is, but Tim Tszyu, that was an absolute bloodbath, and we're going to have a rematch of that. They did not stop that fight. They chose to stop this fight, and quite honestly, as Bruce Gas Boxing Jazz and Moore said, I personally think that Navarrete would have made a serious decision to try to end the fight by knockout against the Filipino. He was having his moments, catching him with big shots. In fact, here's a great shot of the action prior to the cut. Brutal left hook on the Filipino all-action fighter, Charly Suarez. I think where they fucked up, Drew, is the doctor should have never stopped the fight. They clearly, in between rounds, were having a lot of success getting the blood to stop, and the fight could have continued for several more rounds, at least 2 or 3 more, to see what would have happened, and we could have had a natural conclusion. Either Charly Suarez was going to get the knockout, the stoppage, because blood kept continuing to spew. They could have had more time to review the footage, or Navarrete could have said, "I'm in trouble. I'm the better fighter, and I need to clamp down and beat this guy." So, guys, we're going to have to all wait till June 2nd. Let me know what you think. It's hard as a Mexican-American who always, I've got a bias. I'm always going to support Mexican-American fighters and Mexico fighters, but I call it like it is. Even if it means rooting against a certain fighter or rooting against a certain decision, I'm going to call it the way it is. You know what I mean? I'm not in love with Canelo. Never have been. You know what I'm saying? Just because the fighter's Mexican don't mean that I'm going to die to the end for him and against all the bullshit. So, Drew, Speaking of Mexican-American fighters, the co-main event was a shutout. I have to give Raymond Murataya his flowers. He was the co-main event. He shut out the Russian fighter Zaur Abdullayev, who actually his only time he ever fought in the U.S. was against Devin Haney. And he schooled Zaur Abdullayev. Now his second loss in the U.S., I think he did it with a lot of ease. Now this puts him in position to be an interim belt champion. Should Lomachenko announce his official retirement, and everybody is waiting, including the sanctioning bodies, waiting to hear, Loma, what are you doing? Are you calling it quits? Can you continue to fight? He's had some major back issues. I'm not sure if he actually had back surgery. Do you know?
I don't know. Like there's a rumor going around that they're hoping to get a decision from him soon and everything. That's part of the reason why the Tank fight didn't happen. But the main reason why was it was a low ball offer. They only offered him 2.5 at most to fight Tank with no pay-per-view revenue.
Yeah, that's not bad money, but again, Lomachenko has had such an amazing career at this point. He may not need any more money, and we all await his decision. Personally, with these interim titles, Drew, my feeling is do not just give the fucking belt. They did this in the welterweight division. They've done it with Brian Norman Jr. They did it with Mario Barrios. I think they even elevated Boots Ennis to full champion because Terrence Bud Crawford vacated the division. I don't like when they do that, when they make interim champions. They just say, oh, okay, you beat this bum Zaur Abdullayev, and because you had the interim title, you're now the full champion. I don't agree with that. I personally think Raymond Murataya should have an opportunity to fight for the full belt, and somebody who's ranked right below him should get an opportunity to fight him for that full. And there's a world of great opportunity of people that should be able to fight him everywhere from, I don't know, young Floyd Schofield to, other fighters. The division, 135 division is hot, man. You should let other people fight. Even Tevin Farmer. Tevin Farmer should get a fucking rematch.
Go around that Tevin Farmer's going to fight Floyd Schofield.
Yeah, and I'd like that fight. I think that's a great fight. There's just so many talented people at 135-pound division. I hope they just don't do the wrong thing, which is just to award it to him should he retire, should Lomachenko retire. But let me know what you guys think, about that. All right, I think we want to move on to another fight before we get to some boxing news, Drew. We'll go on for a full hour here, but this was a great fight in the UK Saturday afternoon, Drew. Former world champion, IBF champion, Anto Casacci, but I think that's his full name. I always wonder if this guy is Italian, but he's Irish. Represents Belfast, Ireland, Drew. He went and fought former champion Lee Wood, gave up his title. He said, fuck no, I'm not fighting this dude named Nunez that nobody knows for purse bid money. Y'all can keep the title. I'm going to chase this big fight in the UK against Lee Wood. And he put the beat down on Lee Wood, man. Stops him in the 9th round. The beating was so bad that they threw in the towel. They threw in the towel for Lee Wood. For Lee Wood, Drew, man, he's been knocked out. He's had some tremendous fights. He's faced some pretty bad stoppages as well. This is a little picture of the assault. Casacci just landing everything on him toward the end. He did have some great moments, Lee Wood, Drew. He had moments. He caught him with some really nice uppercuts here and there, but he was getting broken down, and they threw in the towel. Casacci, in my opinion, is one of the best at 130 pounds, and I guess he's going to wait for some of these champions at 130 that might want to give him an opportunity. It looks like he's first in line to fight the winner potentially of... let me see here. He's in line of fight. He's currently awaiting an opportunity to fight. Where's my notes, man?
What is Shocker Foster of Stephen Fulton?
Thank you very much. Yeah, and I'm shocked. I'm still shocked that Stephen Fulton is moving up to 130. Drew, thank you so much. Yeah, that's exactly. I lost my notes here, but Oshaki Foster. Personally, both of those are good fights. I'm shocked. Any idea why Stephen Fulton is choosing to leave the division and move up to 130 so quickly? I just remember him fighting Inoue in Japan.
Probably no fights up there for him. Figures this: if you can get Nick Ball, Ray Vargas, Oshaki Foster.
It's a great fight. It's a great fight.
Navarrete and everything. Good fights, big money for him. Do it. They're winnable fights.
So the interesting thing is Inoue has released his 3-fight plan. Inoue has disclosed who he thinks would be the best next 3 fights for his career, and he's not thinking about moving up to featherweight completely yet. It would be the last fight. I've got the here's the information on who he thinks he wants to fight next. Obviously, is MJ, one of the best fighters at 122 pounds that he has yet to face. On the far right corner, we have multi-divisional champion Junto Nakatani, who's currently reigning as a champion at 118 pounds. For Junto Nakatani moves up. For those of you guys that don't know, he trains in California with Rudy Hernandez. He has an entire Chicano boxing coach team behind him. This is going to be a huge fight, huge domestic fight in Japan for both Inoue and Nakatani, between two incredible Japanese champions. And then you see Nick Ball, Drew. Then it sees that after 2 fights, he is thinking about moving up to 126. And rather than, personally, Fonzie and I met Angelo Leo last week. Angelo Leo is going to defend his title in Japan in May. I personally would like to see the great Inoue against another Mexican champion. But hey, I'll take the Nick Ball fight, guys. Let me know what you guys think. Nick Ball against Inoue at 126. I love it, Drew. I love it. So I got to ask you, as a Philly guy, why isn't Fulton thinking about, hey, at 126, I'm a different beast, Inoue. Let's run that shit back. Put my name in the hat. You want to run it back? We'll run it back in the U.S.
I don't think Inoue will want to fight him again in the U.S.
Because the first one, you remember, Fulton went to defend his title. Fulton gave him an opportunity to snatch that belt in Japan, and now Fulton's looking to move up to, potentially take off Oshaki Foster as champion at 130, which would be incredible for Fulton's career, becoming a 3-division world champion. I love it. I love the gusto and all that, but fuck, I could just imagine Fulton getting an opportunity at featherweight. Might be a whole new game. Fulton might be a lot stronger than Inoue at 126.
Yeah. I don't know. It depends. It really depends.
So you don't think it'll happen?
Nah.
You think Fulton vacates his title to fight Oshaki Foster? Or, Ray Vargas is famous. Ray Vargas moved up to 130, got his ass whooped, came back down, and they never took his title away. They're like, oh, okay, you're still the champ at 126.
They may give him a shot to defend it. See if he'll defend it. We'll see.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Hey, guys, it's been a great show so far. Appreciate Drew coming on tonight. Another fight that happened Sunday morning, Drew, that I actually, this one was really interesting. So El Puma Martinez from Argentina. This is a rematch against Ioka. For those of you that follow Japanese boxing, Ioka is a future Hall of Famer. Drew, Ioka is a 4-division world champion, something Navarrete desperately tried to become a 4-division world champion. Ioka did it. El Puma Martinez, at 115 pounds, had an incredible fight with Ioka. In the first one, he came out victorious. This Sunday morning, they had the rematch in Japan. It was supposed to happen in December, Drew. El Puma Martinez almost blew away a perfect fucking fight, excuse my language. In the 12th round, Ioka dropped him with the sickest combo. I mean, it looked like it wasn't one of those glancing, like flash knockdowns. It was big trouble. It was big trouble. It reminded me of Sergio Maravilla Martinez against Julio Cesar Chavez, where Sergio Maravilla Martinez was whooping on Chavez Jr., outclassing him, and then in the 12th round, he gets caught, and all of a sudden you're like, wow, is Ioka about to is he about to win his title back? But Martinez ended up pulling it out, Drew. He got on his feet and survived, winning and keeping his title, 115 pounds. Why should anybody care? If you're a fan of Bam Rodriguez, if you think Bam Rodriguez is unstoppable, this dude, El Puma Martinez, is honestly the best fight Bam Martinez can have at the division at 115. Remember, Bam Martinez is not interested yet in moving up to 118. People are like, fight Chocolatito, move up in weight. Let's see you fight some of these other legends at 118. Fight Junto Nakatani. He's like, nope, I got business at 115. I'm going to try to unify these titles, maybe become undisputed. What do you think about his chances, Bam, against this blue-haired Argentinian?
Yeah, he could win. I could give him a good shot at winning. I'd give a 60-40 Bam.
Honestly, I think it's a very winnable fight, but one for the fans. If you have not seen El Puma Martinez fight, he did used to fight on PBC. Won his title, I think, on PBC. Has defended it across the world at this point. It's the best fight Bam can get, in my opinion. And I hope that they have this unification this year. I hope they have it this year. There's no point in putting that fight off. Let these two young warriors go at it and see who unifies that 115-pound division. So, Drew, I think I was on the phone with you talking about there were some other great fights. There was some women's boxing. There was Pro Box. I believe on Pro Box, a Mexican girl upset another girl and won the world title. Erickson Lubin wins his 154-pound title eliminator. Erickson Lubin got a very questionable win against Jesus Ramos. Nobody wants to fight this guy who knocked out Tim Tszyu. What's his name? Martuzeliev. Erickson Lubin's calling him out. Got an impressive win. The last time I remember Erickson Lubin stepping up in competition that drastically, Fundora rearranged his face. I got a feeling as good as Lubin looked this Saturday, it wasn't against a world-class opponent, in my opinion. And I just think that, hey, anybody that steps up to fight Mortazeliov is a soldier, in my opinion. Hey, go for it. Nobody else is stepping up to it. And Erickson Lubin, from Pro Box to a world title opportunity, it happens. So congratulations to Erickson Lubin. One more fight before we get to some news, Drew. On Friday, I'll give out a little bit of praise to MVP. Drew, did you hear who MVP and Jake Paul picked up this week? Today?
No.
All right, guys. Jake Paul cementing himself in the business as doing for women's boxing what no other people has done. He signed Savannah Marshall and Chantel Cameron, both of the UK, both world champions, both tremendous talents. Jake Paul has, I don't know how many female world champions now. It's like he's taking over women's boxing, Drew. So he signed them. MVP put on a really interesting show on Friday night on DAZN. Saludos to Veronica. Appreciate you showing some love and being here. I'm going to talk about a guy that caught my eye on Friday who was the loser in the MVP main event, Drew. I'm talking about a guy from Phoenix, Arizona, by way of Mexico, Drew. This guy, let me quickly get you guys a picture here. Cesar Navarro was called in. Cesar Navarro right there on the right-hand side against Perro, Cuban, an outstanding Cuban amateur who now trains in Las Vegas with Bob Santos of San Jose, California, my neck of the woods. Takes on a guy who's only been on Pro Box once, Drew. Most of his original fights happened in Mexico. Moves to Phoenix, Arizona. Trains out of Phoenix. I believe Old School Boxing is the gym. He's done some club shows. Here's the deal with this dude, Navarro. Navarro stands 6'1", came in on the scales at 216 pounds. fought recently a few fights back as a cruiserweight. Okay. Wins all those fights, Drew. But started his career at welterweight, 147 pounds. He literally took 6 years off his boxing career and somehow comes back as a cruiserweight heavyweight. Drew, he's built like a fucking NFL free safety. He's got the build of a bodybuilder. In fact, I went back and watched that pro box fight, a pro box fight where he did lose. And Paulie Malignaggi and Chris Algieri said, who the fuck is this bodybuilder fighting this Saturday? I don't know how you go from welterweight to heavyweight division in such a short time frame. But he busted the fuck out of this guy, Perro, in the second round, not once but twice, with some of the cleanest, hardest right hands I've seen. If you're the management team for Cesar Navarro of Phoenix, Arizona, I think you need to convince him to drop those 15 pounds, Drew, because the dude could crack and he can box. And I don't know where they found where he's been all this, but he could seriously be somebody at cruiserweight. Tommy Fury fought this weekend at cruiserweight and looked like fucking garbage. This guy comes away from boxing for 6 years and comes back as a heavyweight and looks incredible, almost knocking out the undefeated Cuban standout amateur Bob Santos, Las Vegas, MVP, almost disrupts and upsets the entire main event, Drew. Shout out to this guy, Cesar Navarro. Very, very impressive second round. He did fade tremendously, Drew. I think it's because he's so muscle. He's mainly muscular at 216, 6'1" for a heavyweight. It ain't gonna happen. I don't know. I mean, maybe he can get a good money fight against, to be honest, Richard Torres. He possibly could. Possibly could get a fight against Richard Torres. He'd be too small for Richard Torres. I mean, he's at 216, but he can crack. What would you do, Drew? Say you're this guy's manager. Almost beat a full-fledged heavyweight, knocked him out, dropped him twice in the second round.
Going down to cruiserweight.
You know, I mean, I heard you call for Richard Torres to drop down to cruiserweight, and obviously he's doing fine at heavyweight. We just saw him, guys, and here's another picture of the right hand that dropped this outstanding Cuban amateur that was supposed to, be a lopsided decision, I'm sure they thought, but no, the Mexican warrior came to disrupt the show, and he did come away short on that decision again. So there you have it, guys. Those were, a lot of fights this weekend, Drew. So, Drew, let's get into some news. I'll put this up here. The WBO is going to be calling in Teofimo Lopez or his representatives for a meeting about the Terrence Crawford situation and his flagrant use of the N-word. It appears that the WBO has had enough of some of these racist outbreaks that Teofimo has had, publicly on video calling champion Terrence Crawford, who has held many WBO belts, the hard N-word. And I don't know what they're going to do, Drew. You think he's going to get fined? Are they going to make him take a class? Are they make him speak against racism, make a public statement? But I mean, what's the right thing to do? Teo is a champion. Terrence Crawford has been WBO champion many times. What's the right take that the WBO should do?
Find him heavily. I know. Put him into a fight with someone. Make him defend the belt or strip him.
Make him defend the belt against Boots Ennis. I have to say, man, I've been watching Teofimo's social media accounts very closely after the WBO announced they're going to be bringing him in for a hearing. All of a sudden, he's talking even more reckless online. He's saying, if you're a reporter who is talking about me, basically, I'm summarizing, if you're talking against me, then don't ever bother to ask me for a fucking interview ever again, which I think is against freedom of speech, man. You got to be, as a reporter, you got to be able to ask the hard questions and call people out on their behavior. But he's saying he shot it down. If you're talking shit, which leads me to believe I'll never get another interview with Teofimo, then again, Teo's not watching me, so who cares? But that's what's going on with Teofimo, guys. I don't know how you guys feel about it, but a lot of people also have tried to come to his defense and say, hey, well, listen, Terrence Bud Crawford said he was going to slap the shit out of his sister, and maybe Teofimo was right in using that language. No.
Here's the thing.
No.
We're not gonna condone racist shit because a guy threatened to punch slap a female in the face. Like, we don't even hear the whole conversation and everything. She could have tried to call him an N-word or something, or something could have happened that made him say that and everything. I'm not saying that he did that it's right that he threatened to smack the shit out of her and everything. That's not right at all. Put your hands on a female, but at the same time, people are trying to give this dude a pass for saying the N-word. And we're not going to condone racism in boxing. It's bad enough that we got stupid ass fans that use race and debates and everything that make it so bad, the sport, that you got your fans using race as a debate because they're stupid as shit. Over half of them are stupid as fuck. So, like I say it like this: if you got to use race in a debate in boxing, that please, you should show me you don't know shit about boxing. You should shut the fuck up.
Yeah, I like that, Drew. I like that. Well, speaking of fighters from Brooklyn, Edgar Berlanga is going to be headlining a card with Turki Al-Sheikh, Shakur Stevenson, and Zepeda are the freaking co-main. They did not elect to make Shakur Stevenson the main event because, well, Shakur Stevenson has a bad reputation for stinking up every freaking main event. Edgar Berlanga finds himself at the top of the card against Hamza Shiraz, which is a favorite of Turki Al-Sheikh. I mentioned it on the last show, Drew, that they were talking about, okay, they know the New York Times Square fight was a complete disaster logistically, technically, in the middle of Times Square. It was not appealing. It turned out to be a dud. So they were thinking, let's have the fight in Central Park. Let's do it where they've had shows, where they've had concerts. We can maybe fit 100,000 people. Maybe we could allow people to come watch this fight free. Now I'm hearing they've turned completely, changed their tune, and they're thinking about having it for the first time ever in a tennis stadium in Queens, where they have some of the greatest tennis matches, whatever they call those tennis matches, the Grand Slam. They're thinking about this stadium right here, 14,000 people capacity. And to be honest, I've seen stadiums like this because I used to work at one. I used to go do a lot of jobs for soccer team, San Jose Professional Soccer League. Beautiful, tiny stadium. Beautiful, tiny stadium. In fact, I kept telling the people there, host a boxing event. Every seat at this soccer stadium is a great seat. Reminds me a lot of the way this is designed, Drew. I think this is going to be a good venue. But why fucking gamble on a venue like this when you could just do it at Madison Square Garden? Like, how many people are going to go out to Queens?
I'll be honest. This is Berlanga barely sells at Madison Square Garden. They don't really take him seriously. No wonder why Top Rank and Pete and Eddie dropped him. And like not a lot of people, and nobody really cares about it. And, tell you the truth, if you look at it, Shakur Stevenson, his three of his last fights that he headlined in Newark, people walked out halfway through his fight. So
I think they did the right thing. They're not going to have him at the top of the card. That's the right way to go. Maybe this venue is going to be a good decision. Times Square didn't pan out to be. At the end of the day, you could just have it if Madison Square Garden is available, just have it there. And what happened to, didn't they have a nice venue in Brooklyn where they were having fights for a while?
Barclays
Center, man. What's up with just have it at the Barclays Center?
Well, the thing is, they don't think they're going to sell at the Barclays. They're not going to do numbers at the Barclays Center either.
Come on. With all those people on the card, if you cannot do numbers at the Barclays, then you need to start reevaluating where you have these fights, Turkey, and come back to Vegas. You're going to have the fight.
Here's the issue. Both cards flopped last weekend. And people, I think the fans are finally realizing that, hey, even if we got a subscription, we're still going to have to put money out. And that's not right. Why should we? And so a lot of people don't give a fuck. Yeah, especially when you have William Scar on the card fighting. And the way that he was going to do it. And Canelo didn't do himself any favors in not being able to cut the wing off and everything. He didn't do himself no favors. And then this card, Devin Haney fucking didn't want to take no hits after taking the couple shots. So he ran the whole fight. And everything. He's terrible. Like, he's terrible too, Devin Haney. And, like, it's altogether, and Ono Barbosa didn't show up to fight.
Hey, I totally, Devin, speaking of Devin Haney, Devin Haney posted some pictures of custom jewelry. He loves to get custom jewelry. He also got a custom grill with some pretty insane diamonds in them, right? So I'm not sure if you're familiar with former promoter and boxing manager Raging Babe out of Philadelphia. She's now a real estate investor, and she makes beautiful custom homes in Scottsdale, Arizona, of all places. Well, she commented on Devin Haney's teeth and or the jewelry pieces. And Edgar Berlanga came at her on Twitter and called her, not so nicely, maybe a broke bitch or a broke woman that should stop commenting on what we spend our money on because you're jealous and you're broke and stay out of box. Like, it was nasty. And I'm talking about, like, okay, we just talked about Terrence Crawford has been accused because of what he's, said that he was going to do some violence on the sister of Teofimo. But Edgar Berlanga is pretty damn nasty too, man. I mean, going after women who used to be in the business. Let people have freedom of speech. I don't think fighters don't need to respond to everybody on social media. They just don't.
Here's the issue, man. When you want to treadle, man, you want to talk all that shit. They're gonna talk all that shit because they don't gotta face the person. They don't gotta face the woman's man and everything. They don't gotta do no repercussions and everything because at the end, it's just like the same thing with Caleb Plant, with him and Caleb Plant. When Caleb Plant confronted him about it, he didn't want to do shit. He wants to sign a contract. No, Caleb Plant, I'm going to tell you the truth, man. Caleb Plant is a real one because he saw Jamal Charlo. He slapped the shit out of him in person when he saw him and everything. So, like, Berlanga, I don't give a fuck what Berlanga does and everything. But Belanga's a joke when it comes to boxing.
Caleb Plant is, the press conference kicked off last week in Los Angeles. Somebody tried to post on Twitter that he has to check in with the SS and the Latinos. No, the Latinos came to Caleb Plant's defense in Los Angeles when somebody ran up on him. Caleb Plant has a fantastic Latino fan base developing, and they just came to get pictures with Caleb Plant literally at the press conference last week. But I got some interesting news, Drew. At the end of the month, Caleb Plant makes his return. I don't like the fight. Charlo's also on that. It should be Charlo versus Plant. It is basically a stay busy tune-up fight for both of them. And Drew, I just found out that they're like the T-Mobile fight I went to with Inoue. PBC has made a decision to close the entire upper half of the Mandalay Bay on May 31st, which they did not do for the Sebastian Fundora fight, Drew. And because of that, it looks really bad on TV. Now, when you drape off and close the upper levels, all of a sudden it looks like, oh shit, it's a sold out house with 8,000 people. Shout out to Sonteo Media. Congratulations to Raymond Murataya. He looked great this weekend, man. I look forward to seeing what he does, whether or not he gets the full title or gets a chance to fight for Lomachenko's full title, man. Fantastic performance by Robert Garcia Boxing Academy this post-Saturday.
Or he becomes a victim of Lomachenko.
But because of that, Drew, May 31st, if you're coming to Las Vegas, there's 2 fights. Golden Boy Boxing is having a fight on Friday night with Beck the Bully at the Virgin Casino. And Saturday night, you can go back to Mandalay Bay. Personally, Drew, I looked at the tickets. The better value is going to be at the Mandalay Bay card, despite it not being a great card, despite it looking like they're fighting tune-ups. I think the venue's going to be popping when they close off the top section. And $50 ticket. I think $50 tickets, guys. Not they probably some fees on top of that, but $50 to $75 to see a PBC fight. Not so bad. Not so bad, especially as summer's approaching, Drew. Couple more things, or one more thing, Drew. TKO Boxing, Dana White. He got it, man. He got the Canelo fight. He got the contract to work this fight for Terrence Crawford. It's all but certain. We have a date. It's going to be September 13th here in Las Vegas. Who's coming? Sonteo Media, you better be in the house, man. You better be coming, planning this big trip. A lot of people have started to reach out to me that they are or not, or trying to come out. You know, you guys can get a hold of me at on Instagram at shoeshine_boxing. But Drew, Dana White, happy to be promoting both events. September 13th, Allegiant Stadium, Noche UFC in Guadalajara, Mexico on Saturday the 13th. Almost certain to be on Netflix. And this is the plan for their boxing thing. They haven't even really named it. I'm calling it TKO Boxing. They don't even have an official name for the boxing promotion, what it's going to be called. I like TKO Boxing. They're going to have an average of 12 events per year for the next 5 years, 60 fights, roughly, and 1 to 4 super fights per year. That means a pay-per-view, probably a pay-per-view special, up to 4 times per year.
They're probably going to have they're having a fight on Netflix.
And it looks like that's going to be carried. Exactly. It looks like the fight is going to be free. A super fight for the masses, for the history books on Netflix, September 13th, Friday in Las Vegas. Even if you can't go, you're going to want to be here. You're going to want to be here. If you can't get into Allegiant Stadium, you're going to want to be here for the excitement. You're going to want to be hanging out at the Mandalay Bay as 65,000 screaming boxing fans come out of that. Either they're going to be disappointed that Canelo lost, or they're going to be ecstatic that he beat the great fighter that Terrence Crawford is. I haven't made up my mind. We're going to have a lot of time to debate that, Drew. But I will tell you, man, I was in Vegas when Floyd Mayweather beat Canelo Alvarez, and it was something else leaving the MGM Grand on that night. You know, I think it took me over an hour to get a taxi just to leave. They didn't even have Uber. They didn't fucking have Uber then. Took us an hour to get a cab ride out of MGM Grand. And Mexican fight fans weren't too happy, Drew. Let's just say that. One group of people was very happy. The other people were terribly disappointed. It's going to happen again. Can only be one winner on September 13th. Unless it's a draw. Yeah. Well, Drew, it's great having you back on the air. A short show. I appreciate Sonteo Media being in here in the building. Appreciate everybody that's joined us, all the new subscribers. What are your thoughts, Drew? What are your thoughts on what's going on in boxing right now? I mean, we had another shitty call where they got it wrong, even with instant replay.
I know. I just my head of a boxing, to be honest. Like I expect a lot. You gotta expect a lot of shit to go on the way it is now. I could care less. You know, I found out today the Eagles are going to be opening against the Cowboys in Philly. So Dallas week, the first week, we're going to be 1-0, kicking their ass. And they got to watch the Super Bowl banner be blown down. But, you know, end of the day, man, I just, you know, you got to expect, I think we need to just, you know, expect the bad shit to happen with boxing. Because when you want to feel like that the sport's getting better, it's just getting worse as a whole. Like this dude is doing something great for the sport. He's doing more bad things than good things for the sport. Because a lot of the stuff, like the 2 cards over the last week, the weekend before, I think, they were flops. They were terrible. And and then I don't know, it's just you're not seeing all the fights you want to see. And everything. It's the fight he wants to see at the end of the day. And I think until people realize that, people are going to keep dick riding for him and everything. So at the end of the day, I think boxing is not a U.S. sport anymore, in my opinion. I think boxing has left the popularity of the U.S. because of the way it's a combination of promoters, it's a combination of networks, and it's a combination of the fighters themselves that make it that boxing in the US is not existent anymore. And they're all about making money and stealing money. And at the end of the day, let's look at it like this. If people expect the American people to pay $90 for a pay-per-view when we're heading into a fucking recession, you're smoking crack and you got drug problems. And you gotta realize that we really let me know. We gotta realize something. Like, what do these networks, when they have meetings, talk about? What makes them think that, oh, let's have the pay-per-view for $90? Like, what makes them think that Americans are gonna be able to pay that shit? And especially when you don't have the laws that the UK has when it comes to streaming and everything. Like, and then you got stupid people online saying, "Oh, use why I'm gonna be." But here's the thing: half the time it's those people that are making $40,000 a year want to waste their money on shit and realize why they're struggling to pay their bills and make ends meet. You know why? So at the end of the day, man, the fans I'm sorry, I blame the fans also for this. Not only because of the racist shit that they bring up and everything, but for saying I bought the fight, I wasted my money, I'm a stupid low IQ motherfucker. And every day, these fans show why they're stupid. So I don't know, I could keep rambling, but I'm not gonna keep rambling because it's not worth my time or my waste of breath on life to talk about this bullshit anymore.
I appreciate everybody that tuned in. Shout out to SB for keeping the channel going, popping here, the chat. Shout out to Bill Haney, gracing us with his presence all the way from the beautiful hills of Henderson, Nevada. Shout out to Bill Haney. Drew, really quickly, it seems like this weekend there isn't much boxing going on. They've got some on DAZN, Johnny Fisher versus Dave Allen. But interesting enough, Serhii Bohacek, who I think gave Virgil Ortiz the toughest fight of his career so far, dropping him twice, he fights this weekend in Commerce, California. And then until May 31st, all the good fights are in Japan. You said American fight fans have been disappointing. We've had the UK show out 65,000 plus people in the past 2 weeks. They keep having great fights in the UK, but we got fighters going to Japan to make that big money. Drew, on schedule, May 24th, Angelo Leo from Las Vegas, Nevada, goes all the way to Japan. Angelo Leo was so gracious enough, took a picture with him the other day. Where's that picture again? Wow, I just showed it. But he's going to Japan to defend his title to give a Japanese fighter, Tomoki Kamita, an opportunity to win his title. Shout out to Angelo Leo, who'll be going to Japan. And the following week after that, we talked about Kasachi, who gave up his IBF title. Eduardo Nunez versus Masanori Rishiki in Japan for the vacated IBF junior lightweight title. Wednesday, May 28th. Man, U.S. has got to step it up, guys. I appreciate everybody. We're trying to do our part here to keep American boxing going. I'm Dave in the 702 Philly Irish Drew Evo. Hopefully we can get another show in this week if you got time for it. If not, it's all good, Drew. Until then, guys, keep your notifications posted, and we'll be back, man, until the next one. Peace out.